We got Irv Gotti, the beginning of the month. Absolute legend,
Yeah, man.
passing away
Rest in peace, Irv.
out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was
Like,
surprised by that, man.
super surprised. What you think?
It's sad, man. It's super sad. I saw that, and your heart goes out to Irv, his brother Chris, his family. Irv built a legacy in hip hop, man. I think a lot of people don't realize how impactful Irv was to hip hop. Starting in the mid '90s with Mike Geronimo, producing for him, producing for Jay, Reasonable Doubt. You know what I mean? Like that. What's so crazy is that when I think of Irv Gotti, right, it puts a smile on my face, and you can see my hair standing up, bro, because there's so many Irv Gotti records that resonate with me from my childhood and me coming up, being a fan of hip hop, that you wish and you hope that he got his flowers while he was still here. You know what I'm saying? Because Irv was a monster. He was a monster musically. He was an incredible executive. He was a smart guy. And the dope thing with Irv is he was a street cat. So it was like he knew how to maneuver in the streets, and then he also knew how to maneuver in the music industry. And there's not a lot of guys that could do that. I think Dame and Hove and, Irv, they're kind of in that class of themselves, probably D and Y from Rough Riders as well. Like, those guys came in the game with a street mentality and were able to flourish in corporate America, right? But yeah, man, real sad, man. I was shocked by it too. I had seen initially like he had some type of health incident, and then I think from there, the news started to kind of unravel that he wasn't in good health. And my condolences, and obviously rest in peace to Irv. But man, his catalog is crazy, bro.
Stacked,
bro. Like, I don't think people understand Irv's catalog.
the influence.
From Mike Geronimo, like talking like mid '90s. Jay, Reasonable Doubt.
And then what
X.
he's really known for now.
DMX, Ja Rule, Murder Inc.,
Ashanti.
Ashanti. Like his legacy is so. It's one of those things that when we close the book on hip hop. We talked about that shit earlier. Like Irv's gonna be in there for his impact on the music. I remember. I think this was probably. It's probably around the first Ja album when I think it's probably 98, 99, man. And I could be wrong with the dates, but I remember hearing. It's probably a little bit before that. So this is probably Ja's first record, right? Ja's first feature on a mainstream was Jay-Z. Can I Get Her? And I didn't know this until more recently, but that was Ja's record.
Nah.
Yeah, it was Ja's record. Jay heard it and was like, yo, he heard it in the studio. And then Jay called Irv and was like, hey, man, you know that record that I just heard from Ja? I want that shit. So Ja, they gave it to him. That was on volume 2, 98.
Yeah.
It was on the Rush Hour soundtrack. So Irv, from a mainstream level, it went up from there. Then Ja drops his first album, Veni Vidi Vici, and then we all know Ja's run was insane.
That jaw run was crazy.
I mean, Ja was the biggest.
He had like that like hip hop
Yeah,
R&B
he was.
like
Ja was probably one of the first guys, I think, in my opinion, who perfected the songwriting. And I probably contributed to Irv as well, because Irv is such a great producer. But
right.
I think Ja was probably one of the first guys to come from that era where he had songwriting down. He had the bars to go with it, but he also had that charisma with him. Like, yo, the ladies love Ja.
Yeah.
So he had that LL Cool J vibe to him.
Mm-hmm.
But he kind of had that X Street gritty shit. He could turn around and sing that hook. The voice. You know what I'm saying? So, but I remember copping Ja's first album, man, and I it's a classic to me, but it was just like that era of hip hop in the late '90s when Jay was on top. Unfortunately, after Big passed, you got to remember that we came out of the Biggs passing, out of the Bad Boy era. It was that kind of like a lot of samples, a lot of taking old records and flipping them. It was like, think about it. It was kind of like, it was hip hop. It was fire. It was definitely like, the best way to put it, it was like Bad Boy kind of hit the mainstream. You know what I'm saying? With a lot of the soul samples and a lot of the things going on. I wouldn't say soul samples, but it's like the David Bowie records, right? The Isley Brother records. Puff was sampling them. Those were big records back in the 70s and 80s, and he was flipping them into hit records in the 90s. But then when Big passed, bro, things changed. Hip hop changed. And Irv and Swizz Beatz, these guys were at the forefront of that like new sound. You know what I'm saying? And Irv took a dope approach of being able to have that kind of street vibe, but also having that mainstream appeal. And Ja was the perfect person for that, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, and then Ja jumps in there. Then Ashanti comes through and she blazes the early 2000s and she carries them into the moon. And Irv was now on an R&B tip. You know what I'm saying? So now he's making R&B records. And then Lloyd. So I just remember that 98 to like 2001 period. He really changed the sound of hip hop, dog. He's a flag bearer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I hope that, it opened my eyes when, I hope he got his flowers when he was here. I really do. I think the public really turned their back on him when the 50 shit happened, when him and, 50 G Unit and Murder Inc. was beefing, and then Eminem got involved, and then the feds fucking, charged them, and they ended up beating the Fed case. Like, I think hip hop, I hope hip hop didn't turn their back on them physically, but I know like mainstream America really like was like, yo, fuck these guys, let's put them out of here, let's go. And Irv was still working, he was still doing
times, though.
Yeah, and Irv was doing, like, I know a couple years back he was doing some like BET shows, some scripted programming, and he was still producing here and there. But what I was gonna say is that I remember when Slay passed and I was at his funeral, and there were so many people that were there were so many people that weren't there that should have been there. And it pissed me off because I'm like, yo, if it wasn't for Slay, a lot of these people wouldn't be here. And I understand schedules and conflicts and things like that, but it was like, yo, for you not to represent for a person of this magnitude at a funeral for support for their family and friends, it was disheartening, bro. It broke my heart. And I hope that wasn't the case for Irv, because I know a lot of people respected him, a lot of people loved him, a lot of people cherished the music. Like I said earlier, man, I get beats playing in my head now of records, that were integral to my upbringing. And when I was a kid, I was listening to hip hop, and at the time, Ja Rule, X, and J were the top guys. You feel me? So, huge loss to the culture, man. And I hope that I hope that the young cats that are watching this or, are seeing this news of, oh, who's this Irv Gotti cat? Go and do your homework, right? Do your knowledge on Irv Gotti. Do your knowledge on who he was as a producer, the records that he made, and know that, he was a force to be reckoned with. I saw Jay was at the funeral. I did see that. I saw DNY was up there. So, yeah, man, we need to rep for our people when they're here. We need to give them their flowers. And, careers sometimes are shaky because, it's like this, bro. You get peaks, you get lows. You get peaks and you get lows. And if we're always staying committed to making sure that these guys have their flowers when they get them. That's why I love Drink Champs, bro. I love Drink Champs because we saluting these guys while they still here. Irv's Drink Champs to me is one of the best. He has so many great stories, you know what I mean? And we wanted to hear that from Irv. So, but yeah, man, rest in peace, Irv Gotti, man. That's a loss, man, for sure.
Crazy.